This is going to be about the underrated teams and underrated players going to the year. So we're going to start things off with our playoff dark horses. Alex, your dark horse from the AFC is who?
This is a team that over the years has been so good at taking my heart out of my chest and ripping it apart because on paper, they are so good. Their offense is stacked. Their defense on paper at every single level has an all pro level talent,
Mm-hmm.
but they can never put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And that team is the Atlanta Falcons.
Sorry,
And
NFC
it's a
then.
team NFC, sorry. I
Unreal.
got excited
Unprofessional.
here. I love talking about Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and
Matt
that
Ryan
offense.
is underrated. It's
He
because
is.
his team fails him is why.
He's
He should have
here's
a
the
Super
thing.
Bowl ring.
Matt Ryan is not sexy. He is not the sexy pick, but what he does every year, every game is he's going to throw for 320 yards. He's going to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's probably going to give you a pick, but that's because he's trying to push the ball down the field. But what they have this year that they haven't had last year is on paper, as of now, they have a healthy Keanu Neal, a healthy Deion Jones, and a healthy Grady Jarrett, who at every level of that defense provides you with speed, provides you with playmaking ability, and provides you with a ceiling of a defense that can keep them in the game for their high-powered offense now with one of the most efficient runners in the red zone, which is where the Falcons have a ton of issues is in the red zone because they just keep trying to force the ball to Julio Jones. But Todd Gurley doesn't have any knees anymore. He's got an arthritic knee. He's not going to be the guy between the 20s to give you those carries. But what he does is he has a nose for the end zone. And when they get into the red zone, they're going to feed Todd Gurley, and he's going to be able to get the job done. Matt Ryan is going to be able to keep that ship afloat. I think they have an ability to go 10-6, and with this new 17 playoff, they could sneak into the playoffs.
I love that. My kind of thing is you may have heard me talk about the two teams I'm going to list, respectively AFC, NFC, but it's for a good reason. I've been talking about these teams for a little bit now, and the team, my NFC dark horse, is a team that was like what 5-11, 4-12, something bad last
I
year.
believe they had a tie the first week of the season, so I think they were 5-10-1.
Five.
If I'm not
Oh, I
mistaken.
forgot about that stupid
The
tie.
Lions,
Oh,
the
that
Lions,
I hate ties so much, but
quintessential Lions Cardinals tie.
it death taxes and the Cardinals and Lions tying. But they can go from the worst in the division, and they can go from that to being a playoff team this year. You can sink into the playoffs 8-8, 9-7, and I think that's what the Cardinals had the ability of doing. Kyler Murray had a offensive rookie of the year performance, and he was a solid quarterback last year with no offensive line in front of him. And now this trade is still stupid. And I love it because it's still one of our highest watched videos on YouTube saying fire Bill O'Brien because Bill O'Brien gifted the Arizona Cardinals arguably the greatest receiver in the league right now in
I mean,
DeAndre Hopkins.
even my 3-year-old cousin who doesn't know what a football is knows that was a bad trade. I mean, come on, Bill O'Brien. What are you thinking,
Hey,
dude?
all I know is Bill O'Brien is the Arizona Cardinals' favorite coach in the league right now, if it's not the ground.
Agreed.
But
Agreed. They
Larry
should hire him
Fitzgerald,
on as a consultant while he's still the coach and the GM for the
exactly.
Texans.
Kenyon Drake was a great move by the Cardinals because he stepped into that role, filled in for the super disappointing because I had him for the year. He broke his wrist in the first game and screwed me. David Johnson. And so Kenyon Drake killed it. He has a great future ahead of him on this team, and he could be really good point on that offense. Larry Fitzgerald I predicted this. Larry Fitzgerald is going to have his best season over the last 5 years because of what DeAndre Hopkins is going to do opening up the field.
Wow.
That's what my
I
hot take's
like
going
that.
to the league. I think Larry Fitzgerald. My hot take, it's a little spicy, but it's desert, it's Arizona. You got to be hot when talking about the Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald, 8 to 10 touchdowns this year.
I don't hate it. And here's what I love about this team now is previously they've had two good receivers. Christian Kirk's a good receiver. Larry Fitzgerald's a good receiver. But what adding DeAndre Hopkins does is it moves Kirk back into his natural position
Mm-hmm.
in the slot. And what did Kyler Murray do extremely well in Oklahoma? He threw to the slot. Who played the slot? CeeDee Lamb played the slot in Oklahoma. And I think that three-headed monster at receiver is going to be extremely effective. And when you throw in,
it's a great core. They got a great core there.
It's just a really good offense with a good offensive-minded coach. They're going to put up points.
And now you finally have an offensive line in front of Kyler Murray a little bit with the great pick of Josh Jones from Houston, 8th overall pick. I love that pick.
Of the draft.
I love that pick so much. And then criminally underrated Chandler Jones still is your edge rusher. He's phenomenal. Now you're paying Budda Baker, the highest paid safety of all time. I think he could
that
produce.
Episode, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Alex.
Also, so the listeners don't get upset. Josh Jones was not the 8th overall pick. He was a third rounder pick, but he
72.
Should have been
8 in the third.
Should have been in the first round. Josh Jones was a first round talent that slipped to the third round because GMs don't know what they're doing.
Thank you for correcting me. 8th pick in the third round. 72 overall. Yes, that's why I pay you the bid.
The 8th overall pick on their team,
Isaiah, and then I don't know, his name might pop up again, but Chase Edmonds could still be good. I like Kelvin Beachum on the offensive line as well.
Yes,
Drake Kirkpatrick could surprise people in the defensive secondary unit, and so I like where they're taking this team. I could very well see them 9-7, 7th seed in the NFC. Now,
I agree. I could see them having a Rams-esque year from last year, getting 9-7, sneaking into the playoffs.
I don't know if they're going to do much with that playoffs, but I could see them making it. Now, the AFC, on the other hand, like I was alluded to, I said the teams I've always compared to each other is that the Cardinals are the NFC version of this team. The AFC version is the Cardinals of the AFC, what have you. That's the Denver Broncos, because they're building the offensive line. They have a young quarterback that has a promising career in front of him as of right now. They built around him in the draft. They also have a great receiving core with a solid defense behind them and an improved running game. They are so similar teams. The Broncos can very well go 9-7 and make the playoffs as a 6 or 7 seed. I'm not even trying to sound homer here. Drew Lock, there's a lot of pressure on him, especially given how much they built around him in the draft. They're going all in on Drew Lock, but he could be their. We've been saying this for the last 5 years, but he might be their answer to the next franchise quarterback. Courtland Sutton is stepping up to be a major wide receiver 1, and then I love the pick. Philip Lindsay could still be really good at the backfield. They're improving the offensive line. It's going to be there for the second year now, so that obviously still helps. Bradley Chubb, he could very well be in the category for comeback player of the year. Coming back from the torn ACL, he could be that guy. Now you have a bunch of guys coming back from injury, stepping up. AJ Boye now joining the Broncos is improving that
underrated
backfield.
Signing.
Yes, I really enjoyed seeing that. And then also, he very well could be rookie of the year. It'd be hard as a wide receiver, but Jerry Jeudy is making waves in the Broncos training camp. And from all the experts, he's been teaching Courtland Sutton and the vets how to run their routes.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, Ross.
Stop me right there.
You made an incredible point. Jerry Jeudy in college was one of the purest route runners that I have ever seen come out of college. His ability to stop, start, cut, be able to leverage his body to restack on a fade route, or set his cornerback up, give him a little out fake to do an inside slant. His ability to cut on a dime, to set DBs up, to create space is unprecedented coming out of the draft. He doesn't have the run after catch ability that CeeDee Lamb does, or the breakaway speed that Henry Ruggs does. Mm-hmm. But as a number 1 or number 2 outside receiver, you could not draw up a better prospect than Jerry Jeudy, and someone who I think is going underrated this year. And I think he's being overshadowed by Jerry Jeudy.
Is it?
But one of the best players on one of the best teams in college last year.
Say it.
KJ Hamler
You mean the
is
man?
a playmaker.
You mean the man? He had a running start, but in the game, he ran 40 yards in less than 4 seconds. They clocked him at that. That dude is
He
fast.
is a playmaker. Do you want to take a top off the defense? You send KJ Hamler from the slot on inside fade, and if you have a cover 2 or a cover 3 or a cover 1 or a cover 0 or any sort of coverage, try to stop KJ Hamler.
See, you're a quarterback.
You're not going to do
How
it.
easy would it be to throw to this guy? How easy would it be?
If I lined up in high school, I was blessed with 2 outside receivers that both went D1. But if I lined up under center and I looked to my left, I know, trust me. I wasn't very good, but I was able to throw the ball to these massive people that ran 4.5s and went to D1. But if I looked to my left and I see, okay, cool, I got Cortland Sutton out there. Okay, he's got a pretty good matchup. He's matched up against the number 1 corner. But whoops, I look to the right and I see Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. And then all of a sudden, oh shoot, I forgot, because he looks like an offensive lineman because he's got his hand in the dirt. But Noah Fant is an incredible tight end.
His last 5 games of the season last year, when there's noticeable. I might notice more because I was definitely watching other games. But that offense, as soon as Joe Flacco was out, as soon as Brandon Allen was out, and Drew Lock stepped in.
What a mistake to have Joe Flacco on the team. I don't want to rehash.
I don't want to talk.
I don't want to rehash bad memories. But Joe Flacco is maybe one of the worst quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco is elite, but he is not good. Noah Fant.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Really good. That whole offense started to click more, especially their game against the Houston Texans in Houston was embarrassing for Houston, and that just made me so happy. But then a guy one of the most underrated players, Justin Simmons, he does not get the respect he deserves as a safety. And then I think my favorite trade that the Broncos made, at least for value, they gave a 7th rounder to the Tennessee Titans. In return, they got the Titans' best defensive lineman in Jarrell Casey, and the Broncos get to play at home against Tennessee. Little revenge game, maybe.
I mean, you can chalk that up as a W right now. Do you want to take a trip out to Vegas to max bet that team right now? I mean, come on. I mean, here's the thing: is the only thing that could potentially hold back the Broncos this year is Drew Lock's small hands. That's it. It's the only thing you got.
Hey, but when I got my quarterback that's dancing on the sideline, rapping to the music, the swagger, that might be underrated. But the presence of that and to see that kind of confidence in a young quarterback can work wonders.
Yep, and just to revisit part of our intro when we're talking about having no fans in the stadiums and the home field advantage being somewhat diminished, is teams like the Broncos that play at elevation and they have a caked-in advantage because of that, because they're used to it. They still have a home field advantage. Right. They still do.
You can't.
They're maybe the one team that could have it.
You can lower crowd noise. You can't lower elevation.
I mean, it's Mile High Stadium for a reason. I don't know if you've been to Colorado recently, but walking up and down the streets there, I mean, I get wind. I think I'm in okay shape. I get winded walking up down the street.
I was lucky enough to be able to make it to Denver for one game. And that was when the first year of Peyton Manning, and I was walking up the stairs to get to my seats, and
you just ran.
That was tough. That was tough.
Agreed.
And now, I'm really excited. As a fan for the Broncos, but I think there's something there, and I'd like your pick as the AFC dark horse.
I think I'm cheating here from a dark horse standpoint, but this team didn't make the playoffs last year. They didn't have their starting quarterback. They made a trade.
Were you saying something wrong about the Duck?
I mean, I love the Duck more than the next guy.
The red-nosed reindeer?
But the Pittsburgh Steelers have a chance to be a really, really, really good team in the AFC. They have a chance to rival the Ravens in the AFC North. Their defense remains unchanged. You get another year of TJ Watt developing pass rush moves. You get another year of implementing Minka Fitzpatrick.
TJ Watt could be a problem. He
already is a problem. He already is a problem.
He was underrated last year.
Hot take. TJ Watt is already better than his brother. Already. And I don't think it's in the realm of possibility that he has a significantly better career than JJ. And also, I mean, just from bringing your family into the fold. They signed Derek Watt. They brought in his brother. I mean, how cool is that to
Now
be
you just need
one of
JJ
the
have the holy
yeah.
trinity.
I mean, they just need. I mean, Bill O'Brien might trade JJ for a bag of peanuts at this point. I
You know,
mean,
I did have one of my favorite things I've ever heard in practice was with the offensive lineman in college messing up, and our offensive line coach yelled at him, "I trade you for a bag of chili cheese Fritos," and Bill O'Brien heard that and said, "Not a bad idea."
and he said, "I'll even throw in a second rounder." I mean, Bill, don't get me started on Bill
Was that
O'Brien.
you want extra large fries? You want a second rounder with that?
Yeah, I mean, Bill O'Brien will do anything, but
God
I mean,
bless you, Bill
The
O'Brien.
Steelers have a chance, and underrated as well.
Mhm.
We've never seen Big Ben under 290 pounds before. He might come into this year with actually being skinny. The possibilities are limitless with this team, and I don't want to spend too much more time on the Steelers because their fans are already annoying enough, but they have an incredible team. I think Juju Smith-Schuster gets back to his normal self. I think it was a fluke last year. I think James Washington's a great player. I think Deontay Johnson is an underrated slot guy, and they have the tools in place to be a really good playoff team.
And Mike Tomlin is still one of the best coaches in the league.